Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. Let me check. Yeah, it's super dark. No, no, clock's over here, sorry. It is super early, and it is very, very much a Wednesday. Oh, you know what we're getting ready to talk about, and since the TV's off, you know that we're not going to give anything away. This is the time to get you hyped to go watch the show later, and I promise you, you will want to be very, very hyped. This is going to be the most difficult review I've probably done all season. It's going to be hard not to spoil things or tip, anything anyway, but I'm going to try really, really hard. This might be my shortest review of the entire season. Oh man, this thing was... I can't wait to chit-chat with you guys about this one. So let's not waste any more of your or my time. Why don't you pull up a chair? Take a seat, we're getting ready to dive in spoiler-free into Loki, Episode 6, For All Time Always. Oh, we have reached the end of the train, man, right? Like, we've gotten to the end of the tracks. That's where we wanted to go. What a journey we've gone on with Season 1 of Loki, and just in case y'all don't know, I mean, this was announced previously, but there is a Season 2 coming. And I am so excited for this show and what it can do, what it can set up, how they can utilize it to continue to build and set up the movie story that they're going to take us to. And it was so satisfying. It was this episode was so satisfying. Like I got like it's taken them 3 shows to figure out like the perfect miniseries formula. That was my biggest issue with both WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. While both phenomenal shows, it took a little while to get going, and not every episode gave you a payoff. Heck, with WandaVision, just about every episode just made you ask more questions. And while I loved that, it felt like they were doing long-form movies more than a individual short-term episode miniseries. And Loki nails everything you want out of a miniseries. Makes you ask questions every single episode. Makes the mystery more and more interesting as you go. But it also gives you something to take away every episode. I mean, there is some payoff in every single episode of this show. And like a good miniseries, your best payoffs are saved for the end. And oh man, it was just so wonderful to watch how everything played out. And the most impressive thing for me with this episode and with this show across the board is that it's been so good because the dialogue has been so good. Yes, when we've gotten action, it's been stellar. I've been saying it since the first episode. This is the most cinematic of all the shows that we've gotten so far. So, I mean, the visuals are there. We get really dope action. They give you one episode that's filled with really cool action. You get a couple of these wonderful moments, but every episode gives you a little bit of something, right? There's a varying degree to how much action and how much humor and how much story and how much dialogue you get in every episode. But the consistent through line through all of them is that every episode has a stretch where it's just talky, and it's the most fascinating dialogue. Like, just, it grips you, it pulls you in, and if you're here for this MCU ride, like, it's just impossible not to just go, where are we going next? Oh my gosh, this is so good. And when you add on top the performances that we've gotten from everybody through this whole thing. I mean, whether it's Tom Hiddleston, who we know is a genius, or it's Sophia DiMartino, who, man, did she just get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger every single episode. Like, I can't wait for just what's in store with this universe, this little Loki universe that they've created. And it's really impressive what Michael Waldron did. Like I said, with a show that has so much dialogue and so much talky, like in a superhero show, that might be a knock, but it's the reason the show is so good, man. They're able to accomplish so much while giving you show and tell. You know what I mean? And this episode is probably the epitome of that. I mean, it's the best writing I think that the show's had across the board. And while I think we've maybe seen some cooler action sequences from Kate Herron, this is almost like you have a director who's crushing it right from jump, right? But when you get to the end, you go, oh man, they were learning things along the way, and like they were refining their craft while they were going through this show, and it just all comes together perfectly. And the way it's shot, again, that's one of the other things. Like when you have so much dialogue, you got to keep the camera moving and interesting, and the way Herron moves the camera and sets things up and gives you, a little bit here and a little bit there, to break up the action. And how the show's edited together and the flow and the pacing, it's just all perfection by the end of this thing. And, it makes me very excited, especially because Michael Waldron is obviously involved outside of the Lokiverse. Having done a pass on the Doctor Strange script, he knows where we're going, and that makes me feel very comfortable. Obviously, we know we're in good hands with the Marvel creative team. Kevin Feige very rarely misses. But, knowing that where we're going could be complicated, there's a lot of moving parts to what they're building. Knowing that Michael Waldron is involved after seeing the show, I'm not concerned or nervous about anything. I am just purely excited. They absolutely crush this thing start to finish, as does composer Natalie Holt. I shamed myself. I scolded myself last week for not having brought her name up more, but she, phenomenal, man. And if you have enjoyed the score up to this point, you will not be disappointed with how she uses the score throughout this entire episode. And I really, really, really hope we get to see more Natalie Holt. I hope they bring this entire team back. Bring me back Holt, bring me back Herron, bring me back Waldron for season 2. Because that combo is, it's so good. And, I hope, I really do hope that Natalie Holt gets to be involved in the MCU more. The way that they use Ludwig Göransson, I hope that becomes the same for Natalie Holt. Because she is, she's a force to be reckoned with in the world of scoring and composing. And what she did with this was so good. And last, but certainly not least, man, the performances all season long have just been stellar. Tom Hiddleston, as we know, is a genius. We've all loved him since the minute he stepped onto the scene in the MCU and Avengers. Just captured our attention, captured our imagination and delivered a character that the fans are very familiar with, and a version of that character that just felt spot on. And as he's evolved as a character, and what they've done with him in this show, right, by taking us back to 2012 Loki and letting him evolve to something that we're familiar with, but different, you know what I mean? Just the way he's able to vary his performance and get him to where he is by the end of this thing, it was so much fun to watch, and he is just stellar this episode, as is his co-star Sophia DiMartino. I tell you, for me, the show was all about Loki and Mobius at the beginning. By the end, this thing was all about Loki and Sylvie for me, because, wow, man, Sophia DiMartino literally just gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger every single episode. They built that character perfectly. And to the point that where, the end of last week, we saw where we were. We're going into this finale with those two side by side. And you're excited about that, and you're satisfied by what they do with that and how they use it. And even though, I do miss that Loki Mobius action, and I'm sure there will be more of that come season 2, I was completely okay chilling with Loki and Sylvie, because DiMartino ended up being a fantastic springboard for Hiddleston to play off of, and vice versa. Their chemistry on screen was just so good, and it really hits its groove, at the best points in this episode. That's the thing that makes this episode so great. For the most part, at least with those two, the mild spoiler, they're the majority of the episode. Shocking. You don't get as much Mobius, so he may have had better moments, but for the most part, everything hits its peak in the finale, and that's what you want, you know? And what we get from Mobius, and specifically Gugu Mbatha Raw, not a ton for either of them, but man, did she deliver her best performance, I think, of the entire season. Maybe last week where she got to really relish in being bad a little bit, but what she does this week, the scene that she has with Owen Wilson, I just sat there, I was like, that's the best stuff we've gotten from her all season. Like, I'm excited to see what they do with her, you know, going forward. And obviously, I love me some Owen Wilson. There's not a ton of Mobius in this episode, but he's just been stellar all season, and I'm certainly, again, intrigued to see what they do with the character based on where he ends up. As is the same with Wunmi Masaku's B-15. Again, like, she's so freaking good, man. Like, she gets the most minimal amount of screen time in just about every episode, and she does something that makes you go, wow, every time she's on screen. And they've built a really, really solid core here that, like, to the point where, like, WandaVision is great, but it's really, like, 3 characters that you want to ride with there, right? And even though, you know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was great, it's really just, like, those 2 guys that you're like, well, John Walker. So, like, again, like, 3. There are, like, 3 that you're really attached and invested to. So, like, the fact that we might not get Season 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the fact that we're probably definitely not getting a WandaVision Season 2, you can be okay with that. And again, they were built to kind of feel more like extended movies than a miniseries. But Loki, they've developed like a really strong core where it's like, yes, get super excited that they're all coming back for Season 2, because I just want to spend more time with everybody here. And obviously, if this was only a 1 season and everybody got dispersed into the movies, like, you're not going to get to relive that type of experience. So I'm very excited that for everybody that's involved creatively with this team, that they get to come back and do it again, and that we'll get to enjoy them doing it again with a different story and different performances. And I can't wait to see where we go. Now, I do not want to give anything away about what are behind the doors of that castle. But spoilers, we go through the doors. Like, they don't tease us. They don't, like, get to the front of the castle, you know, and then something happens that distracts them, and then they don't, like, they get inside the castle. So there are answers and things to be shown. I loved how they handled it. I loved what they gave us. And for the person that is behind the door, no matter who it is, you know, whether it's a variant Loki, whether it's a character we haven't seen before, whether it's, you know, Miss Minutes or Renslayer or doesn't matter. Whoever is behind that door, the performance that person gives following Loki and Sylvie getting there, wow. Just wow. It is, it's so good. Like, no matter what way they go, I promise you that you're going to be satisfied, because the performance that is accompanied with that reveal. Oh, I'm gonna do this all day long. It was perfection, and I loved everything that they did. And like I said, the coolest thing about this show is that Waldron set it up where it could go many, many different places. And I promise you, no matter which one they selected, you're going to be very satisfied with that. And like I said, they could have gone a lot of different ways. And that's why this show is so good. Because anything that Waldron would have selected to be the ending of this show would have been satisfying, because that's how locked in they were. So I'm very, very excited for you guys. I can't wait for you all to watch the episode. If you haven't yet, because it's the best episode of the season, and that's the way these things are supposed to work, you know? I mean, like, Game of Thrones made it like the penultimate episode was the most important one. No. The last episode should be the best of the season, and we certainly get that here. So you know what that means. It's time for a little Seaman score action. So let's get the old Seamaniacs on up. There they are. I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to keep this brief, but phenomenal writing all season from Michael Waldron. Kate Herron, phenomenal behind the camera all season. Natalie Holt, phenomenal all season composing. And all 3 come together in the finale, delivering the best of the stuff that they've given us all season. Same on the performance side. Hiddleston, DiMartino, Wilson, Mbatha Raw, Wunmi Masaku, like everybody that shows up that came to play is wonderful, and they all end in the conclusion that just it was so satisfying. Like, it did everything that a finale should do, and because of that, for the first time ever, we're getting our first 5 out of 5 C-Maniacs, baby. Excited, celebration. Celebrate, Loki. Perfect score for the finale. It was wonderful. You couldn't have asked for anything more. And like I said, no matter where Waldron ends up taking you, you're gonna just be so happy and satisfied. And that is exactly what you want out of a 5 out of 5 C-Maniac episode. And that's what we get this week. And man, I cannot wait to see where we head. It sucks that Strange ain't next or Spider-Man ain't next. Like, we still gotta wait for those, but man, I cannot wait to see where they're taking us. Oh, I love this. This Marvel story is so good. It's so good. And I'm so happy for Tom Hiddleston. He's been one of my favorites from day one, and they've given him a property here that's excellent. And the fact that we have Loki back in some form, even if he's not in the main timeline yet, like, it's fun that he's back, and I'm so excited for everybody that's involved with this show as they get to move forward in a season 2. The first of the shows that Marvel has put out that gets one, and the most deserving by far. So there you go, man. Those are all the C-Man's non-spoiler thoughts. I told you I might either keep this really short, or it would be really tough to get through. I hope I didn't spoil anything. I hope I didn't give anything away, because one of the best parts about the show has been the surprises, and now that I've said everything I gotta say, all right, it's your turn, man. What have been your favorite surprises of the season so far? If you haven't seen the episode, give me what your favorite moments have been up to this point. What are you looking forward to? What do you think or hope happens with the finale if you haven't seen it? And have I gotten you excited to watch it? Like, are you pumped? Are you jacked up? I know I did not get people super excited around my overall thoughts on Black Widow, but Loki season finale certainly flipped that coin real fast to being back to hype man, C-Man. So if I hyped you up, let me know what you're thinking if you haven't seen it, what you're looking forward to, and if you have, no spoilers. Don't be that guy. Don't put the spoiler here. My spoiler review will be up a little bit later. You can put it over there. We'll talk about this episode up close and personal, but for now, did it satisfy you? Did it hit what you wanted? Did you get what you wanted? If you didn't get what you wanted, was it still super satisfying? Anywhere you landed with Loki. Good, bad, indifferent. About the finale, about the whole show, about everything up to the finale, whatever you got, down below in the comment section. I look forward, as always, to talking to you guys down there. And please, no spoilers. Don't ruin it for your fellow friends and fans of the show. But that's it, man. That's everything for you guys. That's everything for me. So as always, since we've reached the end, if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer reactions, you want to be here for my spoiler coverage, we gonna dive into some things today. I promise you, I might talk a lot, but at least on the spoilers, I'll give you a roadmap so you can jump to where you want to jump to. But if you want to be here for all that, you haven't yet, you want to show a little love, support the old C-Man, well then that's real simple to do. Just come join C-Maniac Nation by jumping over there, hitting that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts, and until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down and Season 1 of Loki, spoiler free, in the books here. I've been the C-Man, and I am signing off. Peace.
Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.